Good afternoon, Philadelphia, and welcome to the Graveyard Shift. I hope you're still mildly awake at this stage in the afternoon. I stand here today on the shoulders of giants, these giants behind me. These people are called integrity idols. I work for an organization called the Accountability Lab. And at the Accountability Lab, we think and create every day innovative and cutting-edge solutions in developing countries for issues with transparency, lack of integrity, inefficient use of government funding, and general accountability issues. What does that look like? Looks different in different places. In a developing country like Pakistan, it might look like ordinary citizens not having a say in what their budget gets used for or how budget making gets taken care of by power holders. In a small county hospital in Liberia, that might look like resources being stolen and sold, and then ordinary citizens not having access to life-saving drugs. So how do we combat this? Again, we're a lab, so we think about it very creatively. And 5 years ago, our founder, Blair Glencourse, and co-founder, Narayan Adhikari, were sitting in Narayan's house in Kathmandu, Nepal, and they were just brainstorming a couple of things, and in the background, the TV was playing. And what happened to come on? Nepali Idol. Idol, as in the singing contest, like The Voice or So You Think You Can Dance, basic reality TV competition. And they sat there and it clicked at once. What if we could honor people who are doing the right thing? What if we could change the narrative about the civil service in places where it's basically seen as a corrupt cesspool? So why does this matter? It matters because in many countries and cities that we work in, young leaders, thoughtful people, talented people who are leaving high school and leaving college with a zeal to change the world and to have a positive impact on their community, they may not even think of the civil service as an option because they think of it as corrupt. So that is something they want to avoid. So we want to change that narrative. But secondly, when there is corruption, and when government leaders and elected officials and just ordinary civil servants are not held to account for bad resource management or for their actions in the community, that means that the people who are doing the right thing are very often isolated. And that can be not only hard, but that can be dangerous. So we invented this program called Integrity Idol, which basically gives communities and entire countries the power to honor people who are doing the right thing and going above and beyond to push for greater accountability. Going to explain to you how this game show works. Essentially, every year in 6 countries, they are Nepal, Pakistan, Mali, Liberia, Nigeria, and South Africa. Most recently, we added a 7th one, Sri Lanka. We recruit youth volunteers and use social media, national media networks to give people the opportunity, literally anyone the opportunity, to nominate who they think is an integrity idol in their community. It could be a teacher, it could be someone working in a ministry, it could be a high-level power holder. So it's an open public nomination process that then sparks conversation in communities about what accountability looks like, what integrity means, and how people want their resources spent. Now, to us sitting in this room, we might have a sense of what integrity looks like. We might think we know how we want our tax dollars spent, but you'll be surprised if you go to different countries how that concept culturally is so different, even from city to city. So it's this interesting experiment in getting people to talk about a theme that we don't necessarily sit around talking about. So we have this public nomination process. Every year in each country we do this in, we get thousands and thousands of nominations. Some people who are outstanding policemen or state hospital doctors may get up to 50 nominations from different people because they are just such outstanding leaders. Our staff then sits with these thousands and thousands of amazing stories and they wither them down to 30 for each country. These people go through an extensive vetting process because we want to know that you are truly a person of integrity. We need to understand that there's nothing on your record that gives us pause and makes us wonder whether you're actually using resources in the right way. The final 30 then get taken to a panel of judges. These are made up of civil society experts, civil servants, people who've been power holders before, and they select the top 5. And this is what we are then left with. In this case, 6, because we have a team there. But these were the 5 integrity idols for South Africa this year. Ordinary people who are doing the right thing and advocating for change on a daily basis. These 5 are then get taken through a process where we make mini documentaries, about 3 to 5 minutes, about each of them. And this gets onto syndicated news networks all over the country, social media. We get people involved in really voting for what they think matters. Why is this person an integrity idol? But beyond this person, what are the character traits of this person that you think is important for accountability in your community? So while the campaign is this big show, it's a vehicle to spark these conversations about what communities want. So I'd like to tell you about Captain Vinny, second here. Captain Vinny, up till about a year ago, was probably just an ordinary police captain. He's got about 25 years under the belt in the police service in a small town on the east coast of South Africa. But Captain Vinny was nominated because he goes above and beyond in his community. His community is known for large-scale riots and unrest due to poor service delivery. This often happens on weekends when people are at home, so there's violence. And regardless of whether it's his shift to work or whether it's important for him to be there or whether he has to be there, Captain Vinny is always there. And he's become a community mediator. He's gone above and beyond his job description, and he's really just living what accountability and community co-creation should look like. Being honored as an integrity idol then has a next level of why. As I said, small town police captain, no one knew him. Where's Captain Vinny today? His story on the national news and the fact that he was selected as the overall winner out of these 6 idols in South Africa has led him on a path to getting recognition from national power holders. He's now on an 8-person ethics committee with possibilities of influencing policy change when it comes to community policing in South Africa. So honoring someone that matters in a specific community who's doing the right things ultimately has nationwide implications, because now you get a person who's thoughtful and who has integrity and who cares about how resources get spent, making national policy. And we've seen this happen over and over and over again. Not because of the competition, but because of the conversation that gets sparked and the publicity. And coupled with that, there's this inherent level of motivation that comes with being honored in this way. I spent a large chunk of this year in Liberia doing an impact study on our integrity idols. We've honored 15 people there since 2015, and we are trying to track what the large-scale implications of being an integrity idol looks like. One example of that is Alfonso Ranzi. He's a commander in the DEA, Drugs Enforcement Agency in Liberia. Being honored in this way has not only had an impact on him, but when I walked into his office, it's this huge sort of federal-looking building with a lot of agents and DEA gear walking around. When I walked into his building and I checked in and I said that I was from the accountability lab, this junior officer says to me, "Oh, you're from Integrity Idol?" And I say to him, "Yes," kind of feeling, cool because someone knows me. And he says to me, "I'm going to be just like Alfonso one day. I want to be an integrity idol, and I am going to win your prize in a couple of years." And he gives me his card, and he says, "Remember my name." And obviously, I have no impact on how people vote, but I made him feel good. But that really hit home for me, because here you have a younger officer who now wants to emulate someone who's doing the right thing. And that matters. And at the end of the day, yes, it's a big media campaign and it gets people on the news, but we see it as a vehicle for change. and this can be implemented anywhere. The examples I'm using are international. The countries are slightly different. I work in many countries that are known for corruption, but I think it's fair to say that corruption is everywhere. It might look different, but it's in all of our communities in some way. The other thing that's everywhere is the civil service. And I think the other thing we share is that we all want it to work better for all of us, right? So while we have a template for how this campaign should run, we use a bottoms-up approach. We co-create this with communities. It can look like exactly what the community needs. And that's why this can work in any country and in any city, because the community has control over this. We don't fly a big team of people from the US anywhere to go and do this. It doesn't happen that way. We provide guidance, and we help people understand what's the most important components and why this matters and how it works and what long-term impacts they can expect. But we co-create with communities, because at the end of the day, we believe inherently that communities understand their own needs, communities know what they want, and they understand their challenges. But more importantly, communities know who their heroes are, right? So this campaign, while it's all about voting, is really about getting people talking. And I would say that if I had to look back on this in 10 years, I hope that we could have inspired a new generation of civil servants who want to change their communities, and that we would have hopefully sparked conversations about what accountability and integrity and resource management looks like in our community. Thank you.